Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor with conductor Enrique Mazzolla, which was live from the Lyric Opera of Chicago. I was anticipating this particular transmission, which was uploaded by one Emily Bronte, because Irina Shayk, who is an absolutely fabulous dramatic coloratura soprano, sang the title role, and she was joined by a herald of superstars consisting of Piotr Beczala, Quinn Kelsey, Adrian Sampetrian, among many others. So let's not waste any time and talk about the singers, starting off with Irina Shayk as Lucia Ashton. I first followed this particular singer's career ever since I was about 16 years old, and I first heard her as the Queen of the Night on YouTube when she sang Der Hölle Rache. And this was when I was spending some time in Los Angeles with my cousin and my aunt and my grandmother. So this was definitely a great first taste of what I was going to get from Signora Shayk in terms of that voice of hers and the repertoire she specialized in. Not only did she become such a famous interpreter of the Queen of the Night, but she was also well known in the likes of Violetta Valéry from La Traviata, Gilda from Rigoletto, Elvira from I Puritani, Lucia Ashton, of course, Amina from La Sonnambula, and even Semiramide by Rossini and Aspasia from Mitridate Re di Ponto by Mozart. This was a fabulous dramatic coloratura soprano I've been wanting to talk about for the longest time because she has an absolutely large, voluminous, voluptuous, and absolutely tantalizing voice, which has made her so ideal in roles like the Queen of the Night, Lucia Ashton, Semiramide, Violetta, among many other roles she specialized in. There was something of great beauty and awesome musicianship which I found in her performance as Lucia. She is not like any of the Tweety birds who would sing this role. She was essentially a true dramatic coloratura soprano, all thanks to that sizable voice of hers, which she was able to use with such abandon, but at the same time trimmed down so well that I was in heaven. And of course, her capabilities as a singing actress, as she was able to throw herself in this iconic bel canto heroine. It should come off as no surprise that she sang Lucia in many opera houses around the world, and her experience shows with flying colors. She was able to bring in a lot of charisma, enthusiasm, and vivacity to this iconic heroine that I have to give her so much kudos for everything she accomplished. She is a singer I would love to look out for more often, and I would also love to hear her in roles like Luisa Miller, Giselda from I Lombardi alla prima crociata, Elena from I Vespri Siciliani, Elvira from Hernani, Anna Bolena, Maria Stuarda, Elisabetta from Roberto Devereux, Gemma di Vergi, Eleonora from Torquato Tasso, Norma, Beatrice di Tenda, Alaide from La Straniera, Madama Cortese from Il Viaggio a Rome, Mathilde from Guillaume Tell, Marguerite de Valois from Les Huguenots, Isabelle from Robert le Diable, and many other great roles for a true dramatic coloratura soprano, and even both Medora and Gulnara from Il Corsaro. Those roles will definitely be perfect for her, as she is one of the rare examples of a true dramatic coloratura soprano, a type of vocal breed I have been wanting to hear for the longest time. Yes, we also have other exponents like Elena Moshuk, Diana Damrau, Clara Kolonitz, Jessica Pratt, and even a very lovely and young star by the name of Marigona Kerketsi, who is still rather young, but her voice just has that bloom and richness of a dramatic coloratura soprano, which I love so much. And I have to give it to Albina Shagimuratova for everything she accomplished as Lucia Ashton. Not only thanks to her sizable and rich voice, but also her flawless skills as a singing actress, who threw herself in and managed to do everything with such insurmountable amounts of commitment. She was able to win me over, and for that, I cannot wait to see a lot more of her in the near future. Aside from Albina Shagimuratova's exciting portrayal of Lucia Ashton, we have at her side Piotr Bechawa, who was a dashing, absolutely awesome and charismatic and charming Edgardo Ravenswood. And it's all thanks to his ever-blossoming and ever-gorgeous full lyric tenor voice, which also has the roundness of a spinto tenor, that he was able to make me eat out of the palms of his hands. And he just made me want to love him as a charismatic and charming singing actor. For those of you not in the know, Piotr Bechawa had his beginnings as a Mozart tenor, singing roles like Belmonte from Die Entführung aus dem Serail, Don Ottavio from Don Giovanni, and Tamino from Die Zauberflöte. Eventually, he started to sing a lot more roles in the Italian, French, and Slavic repertoires, those being Lenski from Eugenio Onegin, the Duke from Rigoletto, Alfredo from La Traviata, Werther de Grieux from Manon, and even Faust from Gounod's Faust, and Romeo from Romeo et Juliette. These days, he seems to specialize in the more spinto tenor repertoire, with roles like Riccardo from Un ballo in maschera, and what he's going to accomplish this year with Rodolfo from Luisa Miller in Zurich and in New York. My word, was Signore Bechawa absolutely amazing as Edgardo. He not only had that great focused tone that he was very well known for, but he managed to pour his heart out in this iconic bel canto hero. It should also come off as no surprise that he's been singing Edgardo for many years, and he sung this role with many a Lucia, from Diana Damrau to Anna Netrebko to many other sopranos who sang Lucia in general. He knew how to be so dashing in terms of everything he did, and he was an alluring figure from beginning to end. I also have to give him so much praise in terms of his phrasing. He was able to be such an eloquent and absolutely masterful singer with everything he did. This should come off as no surprise that much like his predecessors, those being Nikolai Gerda, Alfredo Kraus, and Fritz Wunderlich, Piotr Bechawa has been really well known and hailed by a lot of music critics in terms of his flawless and absolutely clear articulation in everything he sings. And for that, he deserves to have a huge Medal of Honor in terms of everything he accomplished as a singing actor. Let's not forget about the flawless job both Albina Shagimuratova and Piotr Bechawa did in their duet Verranno a te sul laure, as their voices blended in such a heavenly way. Though if you ask me, I would have loved to hear Albina Shagimuratova sing the high E flat and Piotr Bechawa the high C before wrapping this duet up. I'm sure they did it once, but I was kind of disappointed that they didn't even do it in this particular transmission that would have been really exciting. Regardless, I still have to give a lot of credit to Signore Piotr Beczała for everything he did with Edgardo Ravenswood, as it's all thanks to his ever flawless full lyric tenor voice, which has the richness and the steeliness of a spinto tenor, and of course his great accomplishments as a dashing actor. Quinn Kelsey was a virile and muscular voiced Enrico Ashton. Not only was his voice so remarkable in size, but also in phrasing, in articulation, and everything about it. He just has something about him which not only makes me want to love him, but makes me feel so enticed by everything he did as a singing actor. There is a lot of style, nuance, and a gutsiness to his performance which has made him quite the standout. He was able to use that round, rich, and absolutely thrilling dramatic baritone voice to the greatest of his abilities, and for that, he stole the show effectively. Adrian Sampetrean was a noble and charming Raimondo Bidebent. And yes, while we do have all the great basso cantantes of the past, most notably Jerome Hines, Cesare Siepi, Giorgio Tozzi, Nikolai Gyaurov, and to some extent Karl Riederbusch, and even that of Hans Zoltan, I still have to give a lot of kudos to Signore Sampetrean for everything he accomplished as Raimondo. There was a nobility to him which made him not only alluring, but absolutely involving as a singing actor. There was something about him which I loved so much in terms of his charisma and in terms of his great dedication as an overall fine singer. He had this grace to him which made him so likable and sympathetic as Raimondo, not only to Enrico, but also to Lucia and Edgardo. He managed to win me over so effectively, and I cannot wait to see a lot more of him in the near future, because this is a young basso cantante who is on the verge of having a wonderfully thrilling career. He's only in his mid-30s, but the possibilities found in his voice are endless. He has that richness and that style and nuance which makes him not only alluring, but also very involving as a singing actor. Jonathan Johnson was a lyrical, pure-toned, and handsome Arturo Bucklaw, and it's all thanks to his flawless musicianship that he was able to make the best out of this thankless and short character part. He was absolutely wonderful in terms of everything he had to give, and for that, I salute all of his efforts. Matthew Di Battista was a lyrical, charming, and absolutely dashing Normanno. With his lyric tenor voice, he certainly knew how to make this particular huntsman come to life. He had a flawless and clean sounding voice, which was so pristine in its phrasing and absolutely fine and focused in tone. Lindsay Metzger was a gorgeous and lovely Alisa, and it's all thanks to her lyric mezzo voice that she was able to make the best out of this character part. There was something so endearing about the quality of her voice, which managed to leave me so enamored with her performance, and for that, I cannot wait to see a lot more of her and where her career will go. So overall, the singing was absolutely amazing, especially when you have such great and mighty superstars like Albina Shagimuratova, who sang such a rich, fine, and absolutely nuanced Lucia, Piotr Beczała, who was a stylish, dashing, and heroic Edgardo, Quinn Kelsey, who was a virile and absolutely awesome Enrico, and Adrian Sampetrian, who was a dashing and noble Raimondo. I have to give a lot of great kudos to these lead singers, and of course, the three assisting singers of Jonathan Johnson, Matthew DiBattista, and Lindsay Metzger for being so committed in their craft that this was definitely a great experience not to skimp out on, as they were able to be flawless singing actors, and their efforts were strong all the way through. And the conducting done by Enrique Mazzolla was absolutely amazing. He made sure that the orchestra played together, he made sure that the singers stayed on key, and of course the chorus and orchestra of the Lyric Opera of Chicago were absolutely fine all the way through. So overall, with such outstanding singing headed by Albina Shagmuratova as Lucia, great conducting done by Maestro Enrique Mazzolla, and of course, the absolutely fine efforts made by both the chorus and orchestra of the Lyric Opera of Chicago, I have to say that this transmission of Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor is an absolute must listen. And for those of you who listen to this particular radio transmission of Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor live from the Lyric Opera of Chicago, what'd you think of it? Did you feel like Albina Shagmuratova stole the show as Lucia, all thanks to her great talents as a singing actress? Was there another singer who stole her thunder, whether it be Piotr Bechawa, Quinn Kelsey, Adrian Sepetrian, Jonathan Johnson, Matthew DiBattista, or Lindsay Metzger? Or do you think there was someone that stuck out like a sore thumb? Comment below and let me know. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for my review of Donizetti's Maria Stuarda, live from the Teatro an der Wien, starring Marlis Peterson and Alexandre Desautiers. So until then, good night everybody.